It's commentary time, bitches! Uh, hey everybody, I'm still working on my 50th episode, but in the meantime, I thought I'd give you a little something to tide you over and do a commentary for Starcrash 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold, or Escape from Galaxy 3, or whatever the hell this piece of crap is called. um, Quick little note about the title card there. If anybody's wondering what character I'm supposed to be, I asked Inshoma that, and he just said, "Oh, it just looked a little weird if you were just wearing like a t-shirt and jeans." So I decided to give you like a generic sci-fi-ish outfit. I think he said he kind of based them off of the spacesuits from 2001: A Space Odyssey, but mostly it was just to make me fit in a little bit more. But I think it looks good. Regarding when movies have like a lot of different titles, usually what I do is I just call them whatever my particular copy of them is called. So, for example, The Last Shark, in a lot of places, it's actually called Great White, but the copy I have, it's called The Last Shark, so I just call it The Last Shark. With this movie, by far the most common title is Escape from Galaxy 3, and the copy I got of it is it was part of that. You may have seen on my desk whenever I do like vlogs and stuff like that. I have that Sci-fi Invasion DVD box set where it's got like 50 movies. That was on there, and that copy is actually called Escape from Galaxy 3. But for this video, I decided to call it Starcrash 2, just for the simple reason that I think that would get more attention, just from people going like, "What? Starcrash 2? There was a sequel?" Because that was why I decided to do this movie, because I thought, well, they made a sequel to Starcrash. And of course, they didn't make a sequel because, other than the fact that they used stock footage, it has absolutely nothing to do with it. Yeah, I gotta use Warrior of Love even when Caroline Monroe's not in the movie. If anyone's wondering, the name of the song I use here, it's called Warrior of Love, and it's actually by Caroline Monroe. Apparently, in the '80s, she had a bit of a music career. So, God, look at these ridiculous costumes here. They're even like this one guy in the middle. I was trying to think of what he looked like. He kind of reminded me of like King Friday from Mister Rogers, only without a beard. And I'm glad people seem to like the P-Funk jokes that I made in this video, because I am a big fan of Parliament Funkadelic. Back when I was doing that Unsung show where I reviewed albums, I really wanted to do an episode where I reviewed the album Maggot Brain by Funkadelic, but YouTube stopped me before I had the opportunity. And I had a bunch of other P-Funk jokes that I cut out just for time. Like one of them was like later on when they escape, and then Oriclon goes, "They're not showing up on our sensors," or whatever bullshit word they make up. And then it cuts to me, and I go, "Well, why don't you try finding them with your flashlight?" So just stuff like that. And another one was when I list off all the ridiculous weapons, and I go, "Does anyone find it funny that Oriclon doesn't have a weapon called a bop gun?" So P-Funk fans will get those references. I don't know how much the makers of Starcrash got for this effects footage, but I really hope it was a decent amount, because it is easily the best thing about this movie, believe it or not. You know what this movie reminds me of, using the stock footage? Because the only connection it has to Starcrash is the stock footage. This movie is almost it's like how Turkish Star Wars uses like the stock footage from the real Star Wars. This movie is like watching Turkish Star Crash. If in the '80s Turkey decided to make a knockoff of Star Crash, I think this is what it would look like. About the only difference would be in the Turkish version, they'd have famous pop tunes on the soundtrack. You know, just all of a sudden there'd be a Pink Floyd song or a Santana song in the background. And then it would cut suddenly whenever they went to a different scene. I also got a lot of comments for this one, like the joke where I talk about my 4-year-old nephew, and a lot of people said like, "Oh, you really have a nephew? Or are you really an uncle?" No, I made it up. I'm lying. I'm always amazed at how many things I say in these videos people just take at face value. Because for the I just needed like a young child for the purposes of that joke to point out how stupid the science is in this movie. And I don't have a son, and you can't just say like, so yeah, this 4-year-old that I know that I hang out with, and where are you going? Who are you calling? You're not calling the cops, are you? What? It's not weird. It's not weird. I just hang out with 4-year-olds. Like you can't say that. So the only other thing to do is say you have a nephew. But yeah, no nephew. I'm actually not even Canadian. No, I'm joking. Here's another big sign that this movie is going to be bad is whenever sci-fi or fantasy movies use the plot line of, they start out in a futuristic world and then they have to go to Earth, or yeah, they transport to Earth, whether it's in the modern day or the past or whatever. They might as well just have a sign that says, "Yeah, we didn't want to spend any money," because that's basically what they're doing. They're basically just saying like, "Yeah, all this stuff out in space that's too expensive. You need to have costumes and sets and effects and fancy stuff like that." So it's much easier to either then move the characters into either present day Earth, because then you can just go down like the street of like a modern city, or just shoot it out in the middle of the woods or in a quarry or something like that. Like Beastmaster 2 is a big example of that, or Masters of the Universe. I'd really like to know what the Fabergé egg huts were from, because I know they didn't build them for this movie. Well, I don't know that. It's just I'm guessing, but it's an educated guess because this whole movie has like the feeling of a leftovers movie. Like it's something they made with just stuff that was lying around or stuff from other movies. Like they were using that set for another movie, and then they said, "Okay, that's a wrap. So should we tear these sets down?" No, 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 no. I got a free weekend coming up here. I can use them for another movie. Let's see what else we got. We got some costumes from some biblical movie. We could probably use those. And we got some starfish pasty things. If we could find some hot chick to wear those, that'd be good. What else? A buddy of mine, he's got a costume for his P-Funk cover band. They're called Mothership Connection. They play on weekends. We could get him to play the bad guy and maybe even do the soundtrack. So yeah, I think we got enough for at least a half hour here, but I'm sure I could pad it out with people walking or some shit, and yeah, we can make ourselves a movie. That's a stupid joke, but whatever. I like it anyway. I thought about using the $6 Million Man sound effect when he jumps here, but ultimately I thought that just leaving the Puma Man clip as the punchline was best here. I'm a big fan of Mystery Science Theater 3000, in case you couldn't tell already. And Puma Man is another movie that a few people have requested that I do, and my answer to that is Mystery Science Theater 3000. They already did it, so why do you want to see me do it? I've done a couple other movies that were on MST3K, like I did Gorgo and I did Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, so I'm not completely against doing movies that were on there, but in those cases, they were movies where I felt like I could add to them or say some things about them that they didn't. But with Puma Man, that's one I think they already gave it the ultimate riffing, so I really don't know that I could add anything to it. And now we come to the real bullshit filler section of the movie, because this is another thing that movies where people are transported to modern day Earth or from another planet to Earth do, is they always have to fill time by having people learning what things are. For example, if there's a movie where somebody from the past gets sent to present day Earth, they always have the gag where they see a car and they go like, "What is this horseless carriage?" And again, it's just a way to fill time, and it's so boring. And now here's the part of the movie where, in order to at least try and keep your attention a little bit, now that nothing's really going on, the movie tries to turn into a softcore sexploitation movie. But even that, it doesn't do right, because there's really not much here, and like I say, what is here seems like a shampoo commercial, and I've said this before, but there are few things in this world sadder than a low-budget exploitation movie that can't even get the nudity right. Like, that is just the most pathetic thing in the whole world. Chicks really dig a guy with a perm, I guess.
Dude, her boyfriend's right there.
I had somebody point out that the actress playing Bellstar instead of Stellstar, but I had somebody point out that the actress playing her kind of looks like Taylor Swift, which I can't believe I didn't make a joke about. I could have made a joke about how she's gonna immediately go write a song about how she's never getting back together with the guy she's making out with here.
May not know what love is, but apparently the local population is terrified by the sight of.
And then they bring the bad guy back like halfway through the movie, and again, just have him do nothing. Like I'll bet you the actor who plays Oriclon was never even like he never left this set he's on right here. He was never even with them when they were in the woods or whatever. And then they make up a story about how this is post-apocalyptic Earth, so we have a boring-ass movie giving us a backstory for a much more interesting movie, which is something this movie's really good at in just teasing. Like they'll have characters say like, "Oh no, something perilous is happening. Should we do something? No, let's not do something." Like it's just, oh, this movie is such a piece of shit. Like anybody who's watched my show before knows that uh, I don't mind cheese in a movie. Like, there's tons of movies that are cheesy and ridiculous that are still capable of being entertaining. Like, movies like Challenge of the Tiger, that's one. That's a completely ridiculous movie that I actually recommend because it's really entertaining. Like, that's the type of movie where, you know, get a bunch of friends together, get some beers or whatever, and you can have a good time with that movie. With this one, it's just so boring. Like, this shot coming up here where they, I think it's coming up here anyway, where they, yeah, here it is. I had to cut this down so much because this one shot of them walking lasts for over 2 minutes, which may not sound that long, but when it's just people walking, it's a fucking eternity. Like they show them coming down the steps of the ship, then they go from left to right, and then it shows them switch and they walk from from the other direction. It's nobody would mind if this movie was 2 minutes shorter. Like, you did not have to have it be that long. And then now another dance scene to fill some time. I love referencing that song from Legend of the Dinosaurs. That's not a very good movie. I'm not a fan of Legend of the Dinosaurs, but I do got to admit it does have a pretty kicking soundtrack. Like that's a movie where even though it makes absolutely no sense being in a dinosaur movie, it's actually the soundtrack's actually a pretty good listen like by itself. And if it was in like a Saturday Night Fever-ish movie, it'd actually be pretty good. They just decided to put it in a monster movie for some reason. And again, they set up this challenge scene here, which kind of leads you to believe that it's going to lead to a gladiatorial combat scene or something. Nope. No, it's just more dancing and some quasi-Cirque du Soleil bullshit. Sorry if we tricked you into thinking you might see something halfway exciting there, audience, but clearly you haven't been paying attention so far, because that's not how Starcrash 2 does things. And they also have to make the music as obnoxious as possible, too. One thing I'm thinking of doing after I finish my 50th episode is I'm thinking of doing the 10 worst movies I've ever done on this show so far, and if I do end up doing that, you can rest assured that this movie is definitely going to be on there, because this is a movie where it was actually a chore to get through it. Some people think that, oh, the worse a movie is, it's got to be easier for me to do because there's got to be so much material. The movies that give me the most material are the so bad they're good, or movies that are entertainingly bad. So again, like Challenge of the Tiger, or the first Starcrash, like movies that are cheesy, but there's actually lots of stuff happening. Like there's so many things to work with here. When there's movies where there's nothing's happening, there's only so many ways that you can say, "Oh, this is boring," and still make it funny. And that guy right there was dressed up as Dildano from Barbarella, so it's another thing this movie's
Shit, everybody
recycling.
panic! Something's actually
And
happening!
2019 recycled the gun from Barbarella too, so Italians really like to recycle stuff from
Don't
movies.
cease fire then?
Destroy the whole planet. We only shipped one Force 10 mega ray, my lord, and we used it. I got 6 of them.
Yeah, again, destroy the whole planet. Actually, you know what? Let's just wait here. I can go
Wait, the
towards this
entire
little
line!
control panel
Just
thingy,
ignore
and
the
then I can walk.
accelerator
I can
fire,
slowly
rewind 3
pace to the
seconds,
other
and
one,
make up whatever
put my
button
hands
you
in the
want.
air,
Just
and then
do
slowly pace
something!
back to
Not
it. Yeah,
one
it'll be great.
android or
I'll have this guy just
prosthetic
have him
or
slowly
psychic
pacing, lifting up his hands a little bit, have him complaining that so many strange things have happened, even though pretty much nothing has happened. Yeah,
Okay,
this is
seems to me
it's
that
a
it's
great
just
idea for a movie.
one stupid thing
I
that
get the
makes you feel
feeling
like
that
nothing has
when they
happened.
first started
That's
this, they
what
didn't have a
I'm turning
script. Like
against.
again, I think they just
Not
had
enough
like the little
time.
like the huts and the
Unless you want to
costumes,
return
and
to
oh,
where
we
you
we
came
finally got the
from.
Starcrash stock footage. So what should we do? And then they just kind of made it up as they went along.
So then leave. That's what they're asking you to do.
Because
I'm not
they have the
arguing
two
about
they have
this.
Bell and Lithan just they'll use whatever power is convenient for them at the moment, and then they'll just forget
Sorry,
about
I
them
had to
when they
say it.
should be
Make up
using
your
them
fucking
later.
minds already.
Like why are lasers coming out of their hands now? Like it just
Directly from their hands now? If they
ugh.
could do that, then why the hell were they using guns earlier? You know what? Screw their
I'm
hands.
actually this
Let's
here's
fire
a
these
big sign
lasers
of how
right out of
boring
their
this movie is. I'm
ass.
actually
This
running
is
out of
the
things to
time to
say about
prepare
it
your ship.
other than how much
Almost
other than how
there.
boring it
Just gotta
is.
make sure we show
Ugh.
every
And
single
then
little
yeah, and then they got to
step
repeat the
along the
same shot
way.
except with them
Don't
running
want to do
back this
anything
time.
stupid like just cutting to them in their ship or something.
Yeah, don't cut away to them and their ship
There.
now. I got to make sure
Couple
they go
more
up every step.
steps.
Oh, did she make that last step?
And yes,
Okay,
they
good.
did.
Thanks,
Well, you've
movie.
got an evil villain
Thanks.
bent
You
on
really needed to
galactic
show me
domination
that.
after you. So naturally, this is the perfect time to get it on.
Yeah, wouldn't be a sexploitation movie without a cheesy love ballad. This one isn't even as catchy as some of the other ones though. Like the song at the beginning of The Last
Maybe
Shark,
Bell and Lithium
that's
just couldn't
actually a
find
pretty catchy
anything
pop
else.
tune, I gotta say. But
Well, it
this one's
appears
just
that
kind of
looks like we
even the
found
last
something yet.
dinosaur theme is more catchy than this one.
Speaking of which, how are
That
you
was a
doing?
Moonraker reference I just did there, by the way.
Yeah, that's what you think. You're both now infected with space herpes. And if Ice Pirates is any indication,
Oh, for Ice Pirates, that is one that I might do in the future, but I don't know. That's kind of in a weird spot because it kind of seems like it should be a bit of a special episode, but not quite enough to be like a like when I get to 100 episodes or something. It's not quite as big as like Flash Gordon or something, but yeah, Ice Pirates is one I might do. I actually, when I made that reference, I actually haven't seen Ice Pirates in quite a while, so that might be a good excuse to revisit it.
Need to add random space words in front of everything. If you had just said the rest of his life, I think we would have gotten the idea. I'll bet when
I think a big part of this movie's budget went to the glitter they put in this guy's beard. Yeah, and again, for hey, how do we? They're captured by the bad guys. How should we have them defeat them?
Alright, so that
I just
happened.
have Lithan shoot lasers out of his
Now we can
eyes.
defeat the
Well,
villain by
can he
activating the
can he do
SG
that? Yeah,
Tron.
sure, it's sci-fi. Why the hell not?
And the day is saved. Because apparently
Well,
the
we had
entire
him shoot
village
lasers out of his
is
hands earlier. Couldn't we have him do that?
organized.
No. Have him shoot lasers out of his eyes. It'll be a nice surprise.
Oh, so you want to return to the village on Earth, huh? Well, that's probably not
Yeah,
gonna
and then they go
happen.
back to the village after they tried to kill everybody with their hand lasers, and everyone's happy to see him for some reason. Like, God, fuck, I hate this movie. Ugh. They didn't check anything.
Starcrash 2, a movie that proves that sequels are rarely as good as the original, even when they're not actually sequels. Listen, Starcrash may have been a
Yeah,
silly movie,
my
but
opinion on this, the first Star Crash, it's definitely not a good movie by any means, but it is entertaining. Like that, Star Crash is actually a movie that should have been on Mystery Science Theater 3000 that they never got to. But it's again like Challenge of the Tiger or I Drink Your Blood. Like it's an enjoyably bad movie that's good for getting together with some friends. This movie belongs in the same category as like Bigfoot or Ape, where it's just dull. Like, just take my advice and just avoid it, please. If I accomplish anything with this video, it's avoid watching Escape from Galaxy 3 or Starcrash 2 Electric Boogaloo or whatever the fuck it is. So yeah, thank you very much. I'm gonna keep working on my 50th episode. I should have it ready fairly soon, and I will see you next time, everybody.